Welcome to lecture 35, file handling. In the last lecture, we had talked about the serialization, right? When you are converting the file into byte stream and when you are reconstructing back from byte stream to the object or file, right? So, we call this as a serialization and a deserialization respectively. So, now we will see this particular example. It's an interesting example in C++, all right. So, let us have in a file assume that we have some integer, we take some integer because we know how to convert that into binary, all right. So, we take this from the file, let us say input the value, assume that in this particular code I am using 42. So, that will be your input from the file, you know that because we have already seen, and this will be converted into binary, that is nothing but serialization. So, you are converting into some byte stream data, all right. So, here in this case binary, and from binary we are going to reconstruct the original value, right. So, how we are going to do with the help of C++ that we will see in this program. So, let us include file stream, correct, and then if you look at class, it is a my class, you have a member data int data and you have a my class which is the constructor, and D you are assigning to data, right, whatever you are going to write. So, give as a input or you are passing as an input, that will be copied onto data. So, now you can see the function serialize, it is having the file name, right, it is going to access the file name, serialize, we are going to access the file name, right. And if you look at OFS, which is the object under OF stream, which is converting the file, right, whatever you are reading, right. So, assume that here we are reading some data, right. So, in this case, so here you are having the input file name, right, whose data type is string, the reference, right, and OFS, which is an object under the class OF stream, right. So, this file name will be converted into the binary, right. So, this will be converted into binary. So, how we are going to do, if OFS is invoking the function is open, right, if you are able to open. So, here OFS is invoking write, right, if you can able to open the file. So, write, and this is the pointer reinterpret cast, right. So, which is nothing but the pointer of the data, right. So, pointer of the data, right, and then also you have the size of the data. So, it is writing, right, starting from the pointer it is writing. So, assume that if it is 42 is my input, the corresponding binary will be written, this is what I want, correct. This all are inbuilt std scope resolution operator iOS, right, scope resolution operator and then binary, right. So, once it is over, you are converted into binary, you are closing the file and you are saying that data serialized to this particular file name, and you can see, right, the endl, right, the new line, right. So, now if suppose you are not able to open the file, right, so that will throw an error message, this will throw an error message. So, this is about serialization, and now deserialization. So, exactly you are going to reconstruct. So, you are having the binary format, alright. So, the binary format will be converted into the original value. Assume that my input is 42 and the corresponding binary will be there in the file name, and from here the deserialization, the meaning of deserialization I am converting back. So, again I want to have 42, right. So, here you have IFS is nothing but the object whose class is IF stream, right. So, you have a file name and then you are going to read the binary, that is the meaning here, exactly the opposite what we have done in serialization, right. So, similarly the IFS object, if it is able to open, then it is reading. So, there we have done writing. So, exactly you are reading from the base pointer, alright, the pointer, and then what is the size of the data, alright. So, this will be reading, and once it has read, it is closing and then it is printing out the data deserialized from this particular file name, right. So, if you are not able to open, it will throw an error, right. So, slightly advanced program, but once you work it out with the files, previous classes that we had seen how to use the file, so then you can understand. So, all are like a inbuilt, right, the inbuilt module that we are using. I hope you understood. So, one is, so is exactly it is going on like this. So, in the file we have suppose one integer, I take a simple example, you can play with the text or image or something, right. So, that also you can do that. In fact, one CSV file we had seen, right, how to read and write. So, you can take any input. So, because of the easiness we have taken 42. So, serialization it will be converted into binary, and deserialization binary we are giving as the input, right, file name and the binary, right, and this will give you the output 42, right. So, this is what exactly we are going to do. We are creating an object obj passing 42. So, the data will be 42 now, right. So, this is what exactly you are passing, and in the constructor we know that the data will be 42 now. So, you have a file name under string data type. So, here you have the file name is serialized underscore data dot bin, fine. So, here first initially serialize the object, see out original data, right. So, obj dot data, we know obj dot data is nothing but 42, all right. So, now I am calling the function, this obj will be invoking serialize. So, you are putting the file name, right, you are passing the file name, right, serialize underscore data dot bin you are passing, and we know that. So, I already explained over here. So, when you are passing the file name, so this function will be executed, right. So, the file name you have, so that will be converted into binary, that is what this particular constructor will do, OFS inbuilt. See, OFS is under OF stream, right, line number 11. So, you have file name, the bin file, and then so it will be converting into binary, correct. So, how exactly it is doing? So, here you go. So, if you are able to open the file, assume that you have a file with let us say 42, all right. If you are able to open the file, so this is happening, it is going to write by taking the base pointer, right. So, the character pointer will be converted into the character pointer, and one more parameter over here is size of the data, correct, and then it is closing. So, that means given input 42 will be converted into binary, all right. So, that means you are serializing the data into this file name, right. So, what is the file name that we passed? It is serialize underscore data dot bin, all right. So, similarly you are going to deserialize this. So, for deserializing initially what I do, I initialize the object obj dot data equal to 0, right. So, then data after reset, right. So, I am resetting it is 0, initially it will print 0, right. So, that we know that. Then I am calling the function deserialize. So, that means you are passing the file name. So, deserialize. So, this will happen. So, it is in a binary format, it is reading the binary and then it is converting into the original format, reconstructing into the original format. So, once it is being done, I am printing data after deserialization. So, now I am printing what is the value, right. It is reading the file from the binary. So, binary to original object. So, we know the definition, right, of serialization and deserialization. So, we have seen this is nothing but when you are having let us say an object, the behavior of the object or the value of the object will be converted into some byte stream, right. This is nothing but serialization, and when you do vice versa, right, reconstruct from the byte stream to the nature of the object or the value of the object. So, you can call this as deserialization, right. So, let us run the code. So, this is your the program that I explained. So, when you execute the code, compile and run, yes. So, in fact, you can see here over here, right. So, this is what the original data is 42 and data serialized to serialize. Oh, this is what you are printing, right, and then that is what the serialization. The deserialization, what you are doing, you are setting the object to 0 and then it is trying to read from the binary. Then you can see that after deserialization the value is 42, right, and then you can see that bin file in that directory. So, what is the name of the file? We will just check in the program. Name of the file is serialized underscore data dot bin. So, you can see that yes, serialized underscore data dot bin, okay. So, you can see that fine. So, what you can do, you can try to open once you are running the file, you try to open, it will not be very difficult, or you can open using the Linux command. In fact, my advice is run these code in the Linux and then you can easily open these sort of bin file. So, now the idea is the number 42 which is converted into binary, and from binary we are taking back the reconstructing back the original value. So, this is all about your serialization and deserialization in C++, right. So, this is the explanation. So, initially we have a my class and serialization method. What we have done, we have the serialize function, which is saving the data to binary, right, and then from binary we are reconstructing back. So, that is, so when you are converting data into binary, you call it as serialization, and binary to data you are reconstructing back, you call it as deserialization method, right. So, we have 42 and that will be saving as a binary, and then what will happen, we are resetting the value 0, and from the binary we are converting that into the original value. So, what we tested here, so we are converting data into some byte stream, right, that is, in this case it is a binary. Now, assume that I am storing this data, right, I am storing this data, correct. Let us say you have several, the security concept, right, the data security, or many are talking about cyber security, right. So, the security point of view here is the information security, one particular data I am storing in some different form, right. So, you can modify this algorithm, right. So, modify this algorithm, you can save it in several forms, right, and there is a lot of scope when we are talking about the security. And then what we can do, deserialization, we are able to reconstruct, all right. So, this is what exactly going on the areas like encryption and decryption, right, encryption and decryption. So, you can, I mean, those who are really interested in this domain, you can see several research papers, right, on how when we can encrypt the data. So, for this, so this will give you some idea, right. So, once you know what do you mean by serialization and deserialization, it will just open up, right. So, you can, I mean, you are not exactly into these either the cyber security or information security right now. So, this will open up some idea, right, where we can save the data in some other form, in particular the byte stream form, and from byte stream form how we are going to reconstruct. So, we call this as serialization and deserialization in C++. So, the same concept, right, we can do it in Java, right. So, in the case of Java, it is completely inbuilt. So, there, I mean, almost we have written the code, right, even though we have used some of the functionalities. So, we have written the code. So, here the task is slightly easier. So, you can see that, right. So, I have a my class, I have import everything java.io.star, and then you can see that my class, right, which is implementing the already existing class or inbuilt class serializable, right. So, here you have, right, you can find how you are writing serial version UID, you are using UID 1L, slightly the advanced program, right. But when you are comparing this with C++, it's almost similar, right. So, similar to the one we had seen. So, here whatever data you are passing, you are copying into this dot data, right. So, we are using the member data and this dot data, and then you are having serializable function, or you call it as a method in Java by passing the file name, exactly what we have done in C++, and then you are trying out OOS is an object under object output stream, right. You are allocating a memory, and then you have the constructor, inside the constructor you have file output stream which is handling the file name, right, exactly similar the bin file that we have used in C++, right. So, now OOS, the object which is invoking write object, right. So, here in this case, this in the sense, I mean, it will access the superclass of the object, all right, superclass of the object, or you can call it as a constructor, right. So, then what it is happening? So, you are doing everything with the help of the inbuilt function. So, the file name which will be converted into some other form. So, let us say it will be converted into binary form. So, that is what you are writing over here, data serialized to the file name. So, in fact, so when you are having this, all right, write object this, because OOS you have defined in object output stream class. So, this is a inbuilt class, and this will be taking care to convert into one form to another. And similarly, the other way around, deserialization. So, you are having the file name, you are passing, and then, so whatever we have done, so we are going to have the reverse process, create OOS under object input stream, constructor, and the file input stream is accessing the file, and then, right. So, this will help you to read the object from the binary, and it is converting, right, into the original data. So, if you are not able to open the file, right, so then you will get the, or you are not able to construct the object, you will get the exception and it will be caught. And in particular, when I am not able to open the file, all right, see both are same, When you are not able to open the file, you cannot create the object OAS, right? And similarly here also, right? So, otherwise it will catch the exception if you are not able to read the file. So, that means obviously you cannot create the object. So, it will throw the exception will be caught here, and similarly exception will be caught here, alright. So, this is your to complete my class and then how you are doing in the main, alright. So, here you have serialization example, which is the driver class, because you have the main program over here, and I have the file name serialize underscore data dot ser, right. So, same 42, right. So, I have an object obj under my class, you have a constructor passing 42. So, that is your original data you are printing, right. So, then you are calling the function serialize, exactly what we have done in C++, we are doing it in Java, right. And then I am initializing obj dot data, which is equal to 0, right. So, data after reset it will print 0, correct, and then I have an object deserialized obj, right, under my class, right. So, this my class is invoking deserialize method, you are passing the file name, correct, and here you go, right. So, this will deserialized, right. In fact, when you are calling deserialize, so here you have the deserialize method, right. So, which will deserialize, that means initially 42 converted into binary. So, you are reading binary here, binary will be again converted back to 42. So, when my class is invoking deserialize file name, so this will be called, and then this is converting the binary into the original value, alright. So, this is what you are writing over here, data after deserialization, you are writing the value of the data. So, when we run the code in Java, right. So, here you are getting, you can see the output, yeah, I will run, yeah, original data is 42, data serialized to serialized data dot ser, we will see the file name, data after reset, yes, it is 0, line number 12, and then data after deserialization it is becoming 42. Can we see the file SCR? Yes, alright. So, you can see SCR file. So, this is what the meaning of serialization, deserialization, and we had seen examples in Java as well as C++, right. So, here it goes. So, you have my class, so you have done for the serializable, alright. So, the data that you have in the file name, right, under the file, correct. So, that will be converted into byte stream, alright, that will be converted into, let us say, binary, exactly what we have done in C++. So, here we are doing in Java, alright. So, it is being converted into binary, and then, right, in fact, it was writing this into the serialize underscore data dot ser, alright. And in fact, when you want to open this, again my advice is try to use the Linux, right, the terminal. In terminal, use the commands, compile and run it, and then see this particular file will be created and you can view the file, correct. So, in this particular file format, what it is doing, it is writing data into binary form, okay, or I can call it as a byte stream, alright. And then we are getting the confirmation that successful serialization has been done, alright. So, now what we do, we are going to reconstruct back. So, for that what we are doing, so we are modifying the data, right. So, when we are modifying the data, you are setting the value to 0, data is equal to 0, and then that you are calling the deserialization function, deserialization method, right. So, when you are calling this method, this is using object input stream, right, to recreate the original object. So, that is what exactly happening. So, the previous case, it is using object output stream to write the object to serialized data dot ser, okay. So, here in this case, deserialization case, so you can see that, right. So, deserialization case, so here you can object input stream, right. So, that is what exactly we are saying over here, right. So, this is using object input stream to recreate the original object, right, and then it is verifying by printing the restored data, that means the original value. In fact, we had seen, when you look at the output, we had seen, alright. So, it confirms we have initially original data, so then we have a serialization, then you are modifying the data into 0, alright, and then successfully it is deserializing, right. So, this is the meaning of serialization and deserialization in both C++ and Java. right. So, you are going to have the value. So, you are keeping this value in some other format, particularly byte stream format. All right. It has got several applications. All right, several applications in the context of signal processing or image processing or computer vision. All right. So, these kind of advanced research areas, all right, particularly the concept of security, right. I want to keep these data into some other format so that the intruder, I mean, may not know, even somebody hacks, I mean, what is this data? Assume that I serialize and put it in some other format. So, here we have taken a simple example of binary, right. So, you can modify your algorithm, right. One image is given, I mean, there are several algorithms, I mean, one cannot see what is going on, all right. In the encryption process, the given image will be converted completely into different format, right. So, exactly here, I mean, here because we are in the initial level, we take some number and the number is converted into binary. I mean, this is very well known. I mean, from the binary there will be a guess, right. I can able to open these files and I see the binary values, all right. I try to convert that into integer, all right. So, whereas your algorithm should be robust. So, when you are converting into byte stream, and the intruder should not know what exactly it is, all right. So, you have several scope, I mean, you can work with cryptography, you can work with watermarking, all right. So, like this, these advanced topics. So, this is going to be your, right, the I am opening the floodgate, right. So, you can explore. So, what we have done, we have handled a simple example, right. So, now you can expand your knowledge on this. So, this you call it as the simple, the language point of view, it is a serialization and deserialization. So, in fact, I mean, we have seen this in C++ code. So, we have done. So, what we have done there, I mean, you require the manual conversion, right. So, manual conversion of object data to bytes, whereas here you have used several inbuilt, right, inbuilt method, object output stream, object input stream, right. So, these we have done in the case of Java. So, in fact, Java has an edge over C++ in the serialization concept, right. So, because here we are completely using the built-in support. In Java, we are using completely the built-in support, whereas in C++ what we have done, you have to make your own logic, all right, which sometimes may not be correct also, right. So, here we are taking all the inbuilt method or inbuilt functionalities and then we can able to do elegantly and even better than C++. And in Java we have automatic handling of the complex objects and also the nested references. And when I am talking about this Java serialization, so this includes version control with the UID. In fact, we use UID in one of the line we have used, right. You can look at line number 5, right. So, this we have not done in C++, right. So, the reason is, so it is ensuring the backward compatibility. So, these are all the important considerations for the concept serialization. So, data security, right. So, once you are converting into one form to another form and you are keeping it, that is what I talked about encryption, right. So, in fact, one of the examples I said, all right. So, you are converting 42 into, let us say, the binary, right. So, the intruder can easily try to guess, right. So, first one what I will do, I will try to find out what is the decimal equivalent, right. So, that is what it can be exposed, that is the meaning, serialized data can be exposed. So, that is why I also talked about encryption algorithm, right. So, if you do the encryption along with this, so for example, I have converted into binary and from the binary I am doing some algorithm, you have Chinese reminder theorem, all right, several other encrypted algorithms, fine, you use it and then you can make still the data complex or secure, all right. Otherwise, if you are converting, let us say, the data into the binary, I mean, it can be easily exposed. And file size, serialization can produce large files, yes, of course, 42 when I am converting into binary, you know that, right. So, there itself the size will be large, all right. So, what you can do, right, suppose I want to make it equivalent or less than the original data, right. So, for this you have to explore further areas, particularly the encryption or watermarking or cryptography, right. So, but whereas right now when you are converting. So, that is an example 42 when I am converting into, let us say, binary, and then binary file you are storing, right. So, we know that this binary, because you have ones and zeros, you are representing with the digits, right. So, this will have more, alright. So, this volume will be more, alright. So, this is a simple example we are taking, but still when you are storing 42 or ones and zeros, so you know that, right. So, the file size, so it will produce large files. Compatibility, right. So, suppose you are making some changes in the class definition, so this will create a problem when you have the deserialization, right. So, the compatibility and the performance, right. So, serialization adds overhead, of course. In this example itself, 42 you are converting into binary, or any data you are converting into byte stream, right. So, whenever it is required, we have to use this, all right. So, otherwise, I mean, you have now understood the concept, what is meant by serialization or what do you mean by deserialization, all right. So, with this I am concluding the file handling chapter. Thank you very much.